Welcome to today's Explainer, heroes. I am seriously so thrilled you're tuning in. Today, we're diving into a really brilliant text called The Triumph of Patient Faith, and we're going to use it to build something absolutely essential. I want you to think of yourself as a hero gearing up for a massive adventure. And what does every great hero need? A trusty toolkit, right? You need it to face those daily challenges and sudden obstacles that just kind of pop up out of nowhere. Well, today, we're packing what we call a spiritual toolkit, completely designed to build up your patient faith. The lessons from our source material give us the exact instruments we need to turn our absolute hardest days into our greatest victories. So, are you ready to gear up? Let's go.
Let's kick things off with a super honest question. What is your very first reaction when things go wrong? I mean, maybe your little sibling breaks your favorite thing, or you get slapped with a completely unfair homework assignment, or, I don't know, it pours rain on the exact day you plan to play outside. It's super easy and honestly completely natural to just let out a giant groan and complain, isn't it? We all know that heavy, drag-you-down feeling of frustration. But the text we're digging into today actually challenges us to flip the script and think totally differently about those moments of trouble.
Section 1. When trouble strikes. The testing ground. God actually uses these difficult moments to test us and help us grow.
Our author lays out two totally different paths we can take when we hit these testing grounds. On one side, you've got the spirit of complaint. The text describes this as being impatient, fretful, and honestly just losing your peace. It's a heavy, exhausting way to live. But then, on the other side, we have the sanctified character. This happens when the truth really sinks into your heart. So instead of getting all stressed and fretful, you're cheerful, you're uncomplaining. The source actually says this is exactly how you let your light shine and reveal Christ to the world. It's just a completely different, way lighter way to walk through a really tough day.
And this perfectly illustrates why we even have to go through these tough times in the first place. The text introduces a word you probably don't use every day, dross. It's kind of an old, dusty-sounding word, right? Dross? But it carries this beautiful meaning. Basically, dross is all the dirt, mud, and useless junk that gets all mixed up with precious gold. To get rid of it, you literally have to turn up the heat so all those impurities melt away, and you're left with nothing but pure, shiny gold. The text explains that if we're patient and trustful under His proving, God uses these difficult times to clean all the dross off our characters. He's polishing us up so we can truly triumph.
Section 2. The power of rejoicing. Finding true peace. This brings us to the very first major tool for our hero's toolkit.
Our source highlights this incredibly powerful quote from Philippians 4. It says, "Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say, rejoice. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God." The text puts a huge emphasis on the fact that it is actually our privilege to have the peace of Christ in our hearts at all times. We don't have to just let ourselves get tossed around and disturbed by every little thing that goes wrong. We actually have the power to choose to rejoice instead. How cool is that?
The source adds a really fascinating layer to this idea by talking about something called submitting to the yoke. Now, if you don't know, a yoke is this heavy wooden beam used to help animals pull big loads together. The text tells us that great blessings are actually reserved for those who uncomplainingly submit to the yoke that God wishes them to bear. Basically, by accepting the challenge cheerfully without all the grumbling, we unlock these amazing blessings that we would have totally missed out on otherwise.
Moving on to Section 3, Prayer and Peace, Unlocking Joy. Let's look at the tools that almost magically unlock that cheerful spirit when we need it the absolute most. The foundational rule here comes right from 1 Thessalonians 5:18. In everything give thanks. The text for studying reminds us that this verse is specifically about giving thanks for the keeping power of God through Jesus Christ. Even when a situation looks, well, really bad, we can still give thanks because we know, deep down, we are being kept and protected by a power way greater than ourselves. The text gives us some incredibly practical advice on how this actually works in real life. First, you just offer your prayer for help. Now, the author makes a super brilliant point right here. At the exact second you pray, you might not instantly feel all the joy and relief you're looking for. The problem doesn't just vanish in a puff of smoke. But step 2 is absolutely crucial. Believe that Christ will hear and answer your petition. If you do that, step 3 is practically guaranteed. The peace of Christ will come. You just have to trust the process. Section 4, Facing the Adversary. Stay peaceful. Because whenever you're trying your best to stay cheerful, there is an adversary trying to drag you right back down into that heavy spirit of complaint. When this adversary comes around whispering complaints into your ear, he can seem pretty tricky. Imagine him as this wicked-faced, winged figure wearing an ancient priest's tunic. No horns, no claws, just a dark, distracting presence trying to mess with your head. But the source material gives us 3 rock-solid rules to handle him. First, take hold of the strength of your mighty wingless helper. Second, do not reason with your adversary. Seriously, don't even argue with him, just totally ignore him. And third, never complain of God. If you stick to this game plan, his promises will be verified for sure.
Section 5. Trusting like a child. Daily training. This is where we learn how all these tools we've packed start building up our strength over time.
The source tells us that the experience you gain today in trusting him is actually exactly what you need to meet the difficulties of tomorrow. Today's daily trials might just seem super annoying in the moment, but facing them cheerfully is how you gain strength. And why do you need that strength? Well, to endure tomorrow's harder trials. It's literally like a video game. Today's minor, everyday challenges are just leveling you up and boosting your stats, so you have the skills you need to defeat the bigger, tougher, boss-level difficulties that are waiting for you further down the road. The text lays all of this out as a continuous, daily cycle. Step 1, face your daily trial. Step 2, come trusting like a little child drawing nearer to Jesus. We're talking total, simple trust here. Step 3, by meeting these trials with unwavering trust, you actually get to test heaven's promises over and over again, learning a powerful lesson of faith each time. And finally, step 4, you gain the strength to resist temptation and endure. So every single time you use your toolkit, your faith gets more patient and way more powerful. Which brings us to the end of our adventure today. So I have to ask, how will you use your new toolkit to face whatever difficulty comes your way tomorrow? Because you have the tools now, right? You know how to rejoice instead of complaining, how to pray for peace, how to completely ignore the adversary, and how to trust like a child to burn away the dross. The very next time a trial pops up, you are totally ready to let your cheerful light shine. I seriously can't wait to see how you use these tools out in the real world. Keep building that patient faith, heroes.